Welcome to a new deep dive from Strategic Labs. Today, we're digging into a document that asks a really uncomfortable question. And remember, you can always find the links to the original source material right down there in the description.
So, think about it. Is all that strict, very visible security at the airport real protection? Or is it more of an illusion? One that actually makes us lower our guard against the real dangers? Things like information theft and social engineering. We've all been through it, right? The long lines, the scanners, taking off your shoes. It's all there to make us feel safe. But what if that feeling is the biggest risk of all?
So let's talk about that. How do airports create this powerful, almost overwhelming illusion of total safety? Well, it all comes down to what you can see, and more importantly, what you can't. You've got two things happening at once. On one hand, you have what's basically security theater. You see the uniformed guards, you hear the beeping scanners, you go through the physical checks. It's a big show of force, and it's designed to stop physical threats. But on the other hand, lurking just beneath the surface is the invisible risk. We're talking about clever con artists, data thieves, and digital hackers who just walk right past all of that stuff without anyone even noticing.
You know, the real danger, it kicks in the exact moment we think it's all over. As soon as you get through security, there's this huge collective sigh of relief. You made it. But that feeling, that the worst is over moment, that's precisely when you're the most vulnerable. In those crowded gate areas, or even the quiet VIP lounges, we drop our guard. And that's when we become the perfect targets for people who are masters at exploiting that misplaced sense of trust.
So what kind of threats are we really talking about here? Let's take a closer look at the dangers that just fly completely under the radar of all that traditional airport security.
A lot of times, it starts with a simple, friendly conversation. You know, a stranger strikes up a chat while you're both waiting to board. They seem totally harmless. Maybe they're complaining about a flight delay, just small talk. But they're not just being friendly. They're actually gathering information, they're looking for weaknesses, and they are setting you up. That right there is social engineering. It's the age-old art of the con, just in a modern setting.
And let's be honest, we've probably all done this. Have you ever taken a sensitive work call on a packed terminal? Or left your company ID badge on for everyone to see? Or maybe worked on a confidential report where someone could easily look over your shoulder? An airport is like a giant fishbowl. Every word you say, every screen you open, it's a potential security breach just waiting to happen.
And then, of course, there are the digital risks. That free airport Wi-Fi that you connect to without a second thought, or that public USB charging station that saves your phone's battery. These conveniences can be a gateway for malware or data interception. The second you connect your device to the airport's public infrastructure, you're stepping into a kind of digital Wild West, where all the physical security in the world means absolutely nothing.
So, how do these attacks actually happen? It's way simpler than you might think. An attacker can set up a fake Wi-Fi network that looks totally legit, something like airport_guest_Wi-Fi, just to steal your data when you connect. A public USB port can be tampered with to install malware on your phone. They call that juice jacking. Even just leaving your Bluetooth on and unsecured, or someone glancing over your shoulder while you type a password, that's often all it takes. Okay, so we know the threats. Now let's look at how they're actually put into practice. It's time to pull back the curtain on the playbook for the traps that are set for travelers every single day. It's usually a four-step process. First, they just watch. They're looking for someone who seems maybe a little distracted, maybe looks important, or is just not paying attention to what's going on around them. Then, they make their move. They'll approach you with a totally believable story, a reason to start a conversation. After that, they start asking questions, very subtly pulling out the information they need. And finally, they take that information and use it against you or your company.
This one is a classic. Someone in a uniform, maybe they've got a clipboard and look official, comes up to you with some urgent problem. They might say there's an issue with your ticket or that you have to be rescreened right away. What are they counting on? They're banking on your instinct to just do what you're told, to comply with someone who looks like they're in charge. And in the chaotic, stressful environment of an airport, it's a trap that is incredibly easy to fall for.
And that really brings us to the most important takeaway from the source material. And it's captured perfectly in this quote from its author, Federico Scanone. The challenge isn't just to follow the rules, but to understand the limits of that visible security and to develop an active attitude. Security isn't just something that happens to you. It has to be a mindset, an active role you decide to play.
So, if the security we can see has its limits, what can you actually do to protect yourself? Well, it turns out the most powerful security tool in the entire airport isn't a scanner or a guard. It's you. It's time to take security into your own hands.
It really all boils down to awareness. Pay attention to your surroundings, what the pros call situational awareness. Be really careful about the conversations you have in public and the information you're displaying on your laptop or phone. Use a VPN on public Wi-Fi and avoid those USB ports if you can. And most importantly, just trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is.
But here's the thing, you're not in this alone. If you're traveling for work, your company has a real responsibility to help keep you safe. It's something called duty of care, and that means giving you the right training to spot these traps, providing you with secure tools like VPNs, and having a 24/7 support system in place in case something goes wrong. So we want to leave you with this question. The next time you're in an airport, what are you going to watch more closely? The security scanners or the conversations and interactions happening all around you? The scanners are there to stop one very specific kind of threat. But the real risks, the ones that can do lasting damage, are often the ones you can't see at all.
We've reached the end of this deep analysis. If this added value for you, share and subscribe to Strategic Labs. Until next time.